Hey, what's up guys, Benny here, and with the brand new Warzone just around the corner, I'm going to take you through the 15 biggest changes that are coming with the Season 1 update, so you know exactly what you've got to do to pick up your first win. The first biggest change that you're going to want to know about is the backpack system. It's once again been overhauled to make sure it's a much better player experience compared to what was released with Warzone 2. There's a couple of components to it. First of all, you now have an ammo pouch. The same as what we had in Warzone 1, where every player can carry a stack of each ammo type, no matter what weapons that you're using. So assault rifle ammo, SMG and pistol ammo, sniper rounds, shotgun shells, and of course, a stack of rockets. This means you can once again think about the weapons that your squad are using and make sure that your squad sniper always has enough sniper bullets, for example, without needing to always have a munitions box. Then on top of that ammo pouch, you also have 5 slots in your backpack for added utility. This could be anything from extra armor plates to kill streaks, whatever you think you need to help you win the match. One of the biggest gameplay changes to the new Warzone is the fact that we're once again going to be getting red dots on the minimap when an opponent fires an unsuppressed weapon. This means that you're going to want to be a lot more aware of the loot that you're picking up off the floor, as well as your own loadout builds, to make sure that you've got a suppressed weapon the majority of the time. So the monolithic suppressor is making a comeback. Because if you're firing your weapon in hot parts of the map, you'll definitely end up being more aggressively pushed than in the past, bringing us back to those good old days in the Superstore of Verdansk. The next big change with the new Warzone is you now have a ton of different mobility options to help you get around the map faster than we did in Al Mazrah. And no, I'm not just talking about the game's improved movement with slide cancelling and fast mantling being available in the game, but Raven Software have made sure that you have an abundance of options when it comes down to getting from point A to point B. First of all, balloons or redeploy drones, whatever you want to call them, are available on day 1, which is important as Urzikstan is a much flatter map with no dominant point of height like Observatory in Al Mazrah and the top of Peak in Caldera. It's actually a lot more similar to Verdansk in that sense, so redeploys will help a ton when going between POIs. Next, you've got cranes, which all have ascenders inside to help you get height to then parachute to a different location. We then have zip lines, which are strategically placed to help you get horizontally around the map without having to run in the open. And then of course, you've got a wide range of vehicles to choose from, as you'd expect. Next, something I'm very excited about making a return in the new Warzone is that Stims are making a proper return, with the fact that they will once again give you a small speed boost after you use them. So they'll not only be a great way of topping your health back up between gunfights, but also give you an opportunity to outplay or outposition your opponent. It's a small change, but was one of the things that I absolutely love doing on Rebirth Island, which when we combine with the new movement mechanics, is just going to make the new Warzone a much more enjoyable experience. Another huge change to Warzone is one that I never even thought they'd do, but it's making sure that every single player will always have the ability to defend themselves when in water. No matter your loadout or the weapons you have on, when you go underwater, you'll always have a pistol. This also applies when you're on a ladder, and I cannot wait to see the first play of someone when they're just completely out of ammo and they just jump onto a ladder or into the water so they can actually shoot back. But this is just going to stop those moments where you feel absolutely helpless because someone regaining lands next to you with a pistol in hand and there's just nothing you could do about it. It was so frustrating the amount of times that happened to me in Al Mazrah. Another great addition I think to Warzone is that in the later stages of a match, your regain loadout, if you're brought back by your team, won't just be a bog standard pistol, but in the build that we got to play, I actually came back with an assault rifle and an SMG. Not with any good attachments, but it allowed me to actually be able to land and potentially fight an enemy squad without feeling like I just have to land on the loadout drop and hope it's not being camped, giving us way more options in those later circles to win the game. With the launch of Warzone alongside Season 1, we also know we're actually going to be getting 5 new guns with the season, which is actually pretty insane when you look at the armory that is already available to use. But those are rumored to be the Ram 7, which is an assault rifle, one of the favorites from Verdansk, the Takovolver, which is an LMG, the XRK Stalker, which is a sniper, the HRM 9, which is an SMG, and then the ARX 150, which is a battle rifle. But remember, on top of those brand new weapons, we'll also have a ton of aftermarket parts, which I don't think anyone has really dived into too much yet, as everyone's just been so busy ranking up all their weapons, but they're definitely going to change how weapons perform in Warzone. Another big change that Raven Software have made to Warzone this year is the fact that contracts are once again a lot clearer at a glance of what they actually are. Rather than just being on a tiny mobile phone, which all looked identical, they're now on laptops with the contract symbol clearly placed on the screen. Now, on top of recons and bounty contracts, we're also seeing the return of 2 absolute favorites. The Scavenger, which used to be one of my starting strategies for Warzone, and then of course, the big game bounty, which will make you target one of the best performing nearby teams, where if you successfully complete it, you'll be rewarded with an advanced UAV, which is a little bit overpowered at times, but so much fun. The next big change with the new Warzone is one that I know a lot of people are going to be very excited about, and that is the fact that one-shot snipers are completely back. If you're accurate enough with your sniper that you can successfully land that shot to the head, you'll be rewarded with that down. I think it's been a shame we've not seen more insane snipes throughout Al Mazrah, which brought some of the best reactions. Like, I can still remember hitting this 600-meter snipe from prison in Verdansk. It blew my mind. But I'm glad it's back with Season 1. The next big change with the brand new Warzone, which I know you're going to love, is the Gulag. It's gone back to its roots with a few surprises still in store, but it's back to being a symmetrical 3-lane 1v1 arena. No 2v2s or juggernauts spawning in or keys to help you escape. It's straight 1v1 combat with a map that one side doesn't have a significant advantage over the other. Though, it still does have a couple of cool unique features. One is that instead of a flag in the middle of the map, there is an ascender, which if you manage to get up, wins you the round. There is also a chance of a random event happening in the Gulag, which could be night mode or a room full of cash or a specific overpowered loadout round. Enough to keep it fresh and exciting, but most importantly, back to what we remember the Gulag being at its very best. That then brings me on to the next big change with Warzone and the new map Urzikstan, because no matter if you won or lost your Gulag, one of your next plans of action would probably be to try and get yourself to a buy station as soon as possible, and thankfully there are tons to choose from. The map is filled with buy stations, which is fantastic for a few reasons. First of all, it means that the lobby is going to stay alive a lot longer. Players have the ability to actually get their teammates back a lot easier than they've had during Al Mazrah. It also means you have way more options available to you when it comes to getting your loadout or extra bits of utility that you want or need to help you win the game. It's also less likely compared to Al Mazrah or Caldera that an enemy team is just going to always be camping a buy station, because there isn't another one for 10,000 miles, which was a fairly common occurrence when playing Warzone over the last year. Awful. The next big change you're going to want to be getting yourself excited for with this Warzone is that visibility is so much better than in previous years. I don't know about you, but I felt like Warzone at times has made it so difficult to spot an enemy because they're hiding in a window or they're just hiding in a corner in the shadows, which unless you've got your monitor brightness turned all the way up to the max, you're just never going to see them. Well, thankfully, this year, and you might have also noticed it in multiplayer, but players are almost highlighted a bit out of their surroundings, much better than in the past. So you can't get away with putting on a broken skin and hiding in the shadows, the same as you have in Warzone 2. Urzikstan is also a much brighter and more vibrant map, which you won't necessarily realize just yet if you've been playing zombies, but it feels so nice to look at compared to Al Mazrah or even Caldera, but visibility is hugely improved this year. Another one of the big changes with Warzone this year is the amount of content that we know we're going to be getting throughout the year. If you look over the last 12 months at Warzone 2, it's been quite lackluster, with the Haunting event being really the best thing that they've released, as well as Vondel for Resurgence. But this year, we know there's a huge amount of content planned, from the return of Rebirth Island, which I cannot wait for, Fortune's keep, and they're just the resurgence maps, not even new maps that we're going to be getting our hands on. And in my opinion, also the high likelihood of Verdansk making a return at some point in the year. We then also get Warzone Mobile, which is going to give us even more ways to play Warzone. It's insane. Then we've also got Raven Software in charge, who definitely won't let a broken weapon like the RPK stay on top of the meta for over 100 days. We saw during Caldera they would constantly freshen up and balance the game, and we can expect more of the same with the new Warzone. The next change for Warzone is that it's keeping its perk system and won't be following the gear system that we have in Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer. But with that, they've introduced a couple of new perks that we can choose to have in our perk packages. Those are Shrouded, where a smoke grenade is going to deploy when you get downed. You've then got Irradiated, where you move faster and take less damage whilst you're in the gas. You've then got Resolute, where you gain increased movement speed when you get damaged. And then finally, Combat Scout, which pings an enemy when you hit them with a bullet, which I think was a little bit overpowered in Caldera, so I'm slightly surprised to see it make a return. But these will open up a whole ton of new strategies and playstyles, like being able to combine Stims with Irradiated, so you can pull off some insane flanks with your gas mask to get behind opponents, or just survive long enough to be able to come out on top because you outlast someone in the gas. Resolute will also be perfect for when you're transitioning across open parts of the map against a team that are holding you in. And, well, Combat Scout, we know well enough from when it was added into the game in Caldera. And then Shrouded, we found just stops you getting thirsted straight away and allows your teammate to get an easy res, especially if they've got a medic vest on. Also, Ghost has had a rework where you have to be moving for it to work. So if you're using Ghost and just camping in a corner and not moving, you're still going to pop up on enemy UAVs, which I personally think is a great change. Now, I mentioned movement briefly a little bit earlier on in the video, but I wanted to spend some more time on it because, man, it is just so much better than we had in Warzone 2, where we couldn't even sprint and plate at the same time when the game first came out, which is mental. But an important thing to remember is the movement is going to be slightly different than it is in Modern Warfare compared to Warzone, because they're not just using the same gear system, which has a ton of mobility gear pieces that really affect things like jump shotting or slide distance. So there is a chance over the next couple of months the game will be tuned a little bit by Raven to find that sweet spot where we're all really happy with it. So keep that in mind. The main things to be aware of: slide cancelling is back. This combined with diving is going to be amazing and making it harder for your opponents to hit and track you whilst you're moving around the map. Make sure you take full advantage of them, and you don't ever really want to find yourself ever just running in a straight line. So slide, dive, do whatever you can to make yourself a hard target to hit. You can then, of course, sprint whilst plating. Bunny hopping is sadly not a thing with this version of Warzone, so keep that in mind when pushing a gunfight aggressively. But every other animation is just faster. So when you're mantling to pull off a flank or gain some high ground, it doesn't feel clunky, and I just can't wait to see what it feels like once again when the new Warzone lands on December 6th. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.